Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 503. Little earlier, love is love, a little earlier than normal. It's 11:03 p.m. here on June 3rd, 2023. The first Saturday of June is 17 days until my 50th birthday. A lot of stuff going on here in June. My mother-in-law's birthday was yesterday. My dad's birthday is on Monday. My birthday, of course, on the 20th. My in-laws' wedding anniversary is the day of my 50th birthday party on the 24th. So all kinds of creative stuff. It's been a good week. It was a short work week. We had Memorial Day off, so Monday, Memorial Day, we were off, and that was nice. And then an interesting thing happened at my work on Friday. Friday, I walk in and there's no power. Well, let me rephrase it. There was some power, but not all power. There was lots of lights out, but there was still some light. The main machines in my company were out. The embroidery, the sewing, and the heat seal, they weren't working. The computers were working fine, but there was no internet access. So they kept getting word from BG&E that, hey, we're gonna get out here. It's gonna be fixed by 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock rolls around, nothing happens. So they say now it's going to be 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock rolls around, nothing happens. It's also the hottest day of the week and the hottest day we've had in a long time. It would hit 90. I think it hit 95, 96 degrees at the airport that day, but it was around in the lower to mid 90s early in the morning around noonish. So the air conditioning wasn't working either. So it's getting hot in there. And the student workers who worked there were trying to complain that they needed to go home and that they shouldn't be forced to do this, but there was stuff they could still do. So there was some work that was done and taken care of. So they got to a point where there was only so much they could do. The bathrooms were all completely dark because there was no light working on for those. So going to the bathroom was an adventure. So they had to come up with a decision, and I understand why it took them a while to do it, but eventually, at 1 o'clock, they said it was time to shut down for the weekend because nothing was going to happen. Didn't know when the electricity was going to be back on. So still don't know if it's back on. I'm sure it probably is, but didn't know when it came back on or how long it was out. But it had started going out, I think, Thursday night. I think late Thursday night it went out. So I think it had been out for a while anyway. So that was a kind of interesting day. And it was interesting is that June 2nd was also leave work early day. So that was just kind of funny combination of that. This weekend also, my daughter is finishing her last week of training for her summer job. She starts a full week of training at the end of the month, and then her first full week of working will be the week after that, and then she works all summer up at the summer camp for the Scouts. So I took her up, or actually my wife took her up Friday night, and I get a text saying that she left her phone here. The campsite's about an hour away, so they really couldn't drive all the way back, pick it up, drive all the way back out there, and then drive all the way back. Wouldn't be fair to my wife. So I just told her that I would drop it off early in the morning today, on Saturday. So I got up at 8 a.m. and went and showered. Actually, not 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Got up at 7 a.m., showered, and then left the house, got some Chick-fil-A breakfast, and then drove up to campsite, met up with my daughter, gave her phone, and then drove back home. By the time I got home, my wife and son were gone because they had a scout thing to do this weekend, a recruitment drive thing. And then they got back about 12:30-ish. And then we ate some lunch and played some Fortnite. And then my wife and I went out because today was the Pokemon Gold Rush event, which was honestly a piece of trash. The theory behind it was it was a one-day event, 2 to 5. There was going to be gold Pokestops, and you had to do research tasks. And once you did that, you would have encounters with Pokemon whose shinies are gold. So you would think that in an event where you're picking these specific Pokemon for their shiny gold, shiny forms, you'd have at least a little bit more of a shiny opportunity. So during this 4-hour window, I caught a grand total of 2 gold shinies, and they were the same one, Sable Eye. And my wife, meanwhile, she lucked out more. She got about 8 of them, but she still didn't get all of the ones that were the main ones that they were looking at, but she got most of them. So just kind of a trash event, to be honest. Nothing really exciting about it. And it costs money to do the research, 99 cents, but still it costs about $1 to do that. So that was kind of trash. And also, while this is going on, Reisterstown had its second annual beer and wine fest. And I do kind of remember last year's. So it shouldn't have surprised me that they choose the road right by my neighborhood for the beer and wine fest. You'd think they'd put it down by a park or something like that, but there wasn't enough room and they didn't want to shut down most of Main Street. So they did a side road, and it was the road right by my neighborhood. And I had forgotten that they did that last year, but I do remember when I saw it again, I was like, oh yeah, they did this last year. I remember that. And it seemed like to be a raving success. So we saw that. And then we decided, we were going to go out to dinner. So we decided we were going to hit a spot we'd never gone to before, which is right on Main Street, about 5 minutes from our house, called El Gran Pollo, the big chicken, as it were. The location of El Gran Pollo has been a spot that has had multiple restaurants there since we moved in 2004, show up and fail. But this one has been around for a good while now. It's been close to probably 4 or 5 years now, probably longer than that. Probably about 5 years since it came into fruition there, and it survived COVID. It shut down when everything else shut down, and then when things were starting to open up slightly a little bit, they did pick up only, so you could order it on the app or whatever, and then you would have to you could come in and pick it up. And then once they opened things up a little bit more, you had to wear a mask in there, and then eventually you didn't have to do anything. So it's a really good restaurant. There's actually 4 in the area, and it's not just chicken stuff, but their chicken is really, really good. It has burgers and wraps and salads and quesadillas and fried rice, and it just is a good amalgamation of everything. It's a good collection of stuff. The only issues I had with it was their sodas were in refrigerated areas, and they were small sodas. And the refrigerated areas were not cold enough, to be honest. I thought they should have been a lot colder than they were. And then it's a little pricey, and also there were little flies flying around. But other than that, it's a Spanish-run place, so you had a lot of Spanish music in, and you had soccer or football on the TVs in there, and it's been a success. There was a lot of people in there. And it was really, really good food. I mean, it was so good. Even my son loved it, who's a notoriously kind of picky eater. So that was kind of a good bonus for that. So we're definitely going to be going back there and take my daughter this time. It's Pride Month, hence the name Love is Love. I am a supporter of the LGBTQ family, and I think it needs to be noticed that there are lots of states that are claiming to be pride friendly, but are passing legislation to basically ostracize them and threaten them and jail them and kill them, to be honest. So that needs to be stopped real quick. It is also the strawberry moon. We won't be able to see it up here in Reisterstown because it's very cloudy out right now, but it's a strawberry moon. And Antares, one of the, I think, the red star in Scorpio, I think, is supposed to be right next to it, as are some planets. So you got a lot of good stuff there, if you can see it. And as I said, we had a 93-degree day on Friday, but then today it was down to about in the 80s. And then this evening when we walked up to the restaurant to eat, and then was walking home, a beautiful, gorgeous breeze, fresh air, no humidity. It was gorgeous. So we came in the house. The house was 75 degrees. To turn the air conditioner on yesterday. And so turned the air conditioner off, opened all the windows. And about 3 hours later, I went to check the temperature of the house, and it had dropped to 67 degrees. So it was getting a little chilly. My wife gets cold quickly. So I closed the windows, and we had some upstairs going on also. So we closed them up there. And then I checked before I came down here, and it's back up to 72. So it's a weird little thing, but it's very nice out, and it's hopefully a sign of things to come, because the National Weather Service did their projected weather for June, and our area is going to be below normal temperatures. And if you look at the next 10 days, 77, 81, 84, 81, 81, 81, 82, 84, 82. And then lows of 55, 52, 57, 54, 54, 54, 54, 57, 61, 61. So it's going to get warmer near the beginning of next week, not this week coming up, but next week, which is the last week of school for the kids. And some possibility of rain next Sunday and Monday. But right now, this week upcoming is sunny, partly sunny, partly sunny, 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 partly sunny, partly sunny. So as I said, and temperatures are going to be below, well, not below, it's probably about normal. But when you think of summer, you think much warmer temperatures here in this area particularly. And no, this is normal summer. We need more rain because we are in a little bit of a drought area. So we need to get that taken care of. So that's what's going on with me here. Some comic book news. Which I really haven't done much with because I really haven't been collecting comics too much, but this is just some interesting stuff that came out. J. Michael Straczynski, creator of Babylon 5, also wrote some really good Image comics in the 90s and early 2000s. And then Midnight something and the one about the heroes, I can't remember it. And then he took over Spider-Man and did some good stuff, but also did some shitty stuff as well. And then he's just sort of disappeared after a while. Where he's coming back. He's going to be writing a new Captain America series coming out, I guess, this summer. Yeah, it would have to be, because even if it was in previews for June, it would be August. It would be the earliest it would pop up. So it's probably going to be August when it pops up. And then Dan Slott, who is one of the more famous Spider-Man writers, actually created the Spider-Verse, which the popular movie that's out this week, I'll talk about that in a little bit, is doing. He's come back to writing a standalone Spider-Man comic with Mark Bagley, and he has come up with an idea for his Superior Spider-Man, which was Dr. Octopus in the body of Spider-Man. So don't know if it's going to be a new Superior Spider-Man or if it's going to be set during the time of the Superior Spider-Man and new stories coming from that. Not sure, but Dan Slott is coming back to write a Superior Spider-Man book in the fall. So that'll be interesting about that. And I think there's another one that, let's just see if I can find it real quick, just because The Punisher is no more in the comics. The last writer, I think it was Jed MacKay or whatever. The Punisher's gone through a lot of changes. He had the skull shirt, and he was killing bad guys in brutal ways. And then maggots and violent police officers started wearing it, and that wasn't sitting well with the Punisher and the Punisher writers. So they changed his skull to something else, and then they've done sort of this thing where he's going to this alternate dimension now, and he's punishing people in that alternate dimension or something like that. I don't know, but he is no longer in the Marvel universe, which is kind of funny because the new rumor coming out is that the Punisher will be getting his own Disney Plus series after the Daredevil saga comes out by John Barenthal, his beginning his own series again. So it's kind of funny they get rid of the Punisher in the comic world and decide, hey, we should bring the Punisher to the Netflix Disney Plus world. So we'll see what happens with that. That's kind of interesting. So that's some of your comic stuff here. Some other comic book movie stuff. The Spider-Verse movie that came out, the animated Spider-Verse film, sequel to the other Spider-Verse film, came out, is on target to hit a $110 million opening weekend, which is outstanding. It made $16 million on Thursday previews, which is the second best Thursday preview in history since they've started doing that. So it's making good money, and it's got legs. So that's good. Spider-Man 4 is on hold due to the WGA strike. We kind of expected that to happen anyway. So not that big of a surprise or big of a deal about that. Batman Part 2 with Robert Pattinson has now been delayed 6 months. So not just only for the Writers Guild stuff, but they've got other stuff going on, probably because the Writers Guild stuff shut stuff down, that Pattinson and the director decided that we don't know how long it's going to take for this to work, and we just can't sit on our laurels, so they're probably going to move on to do some other projects. So we'll see if that is going to be something as well. And I think that's all the comic book stuff I have right now. Oh yeah, Sydney Sweeney. Oh god. The luscious Sydney Sweeney, I should say, is officially playing Julia Carpenter, Spider-Woman 2, which was the influence of Spider-Man's black and white costume in the Madam Web movie coming from Sony probably next year. But, oh, God, Sydney Sweeney, I just had to think about her for a second. Sorry. Okay, good. Andy Samberg is voice in the new Spider-Verse movie. He's going to play the voice of the Scarlet Spider. So that's pretty interesting. Here's a comic book thing for you. A new Spider-Man manga is going to be arriving by the My Hero Academia team. So that's pretty cool about that. And I think that's all the comic book stuff I can think of at this moment. If I come across anything else, I will definitely let you know. But there we go. This story's from 2010, but it popped up on my feed this week, so I had to bring it up. I did this show before 2000 or after 2010, so I wasn't able to talk about it. But the police broke up a fight in 2010 between Doctor Who and Star Wars fans. There was a science fiction convention in England at that time, and the cosplayers got into a battle about stuff, and it became quite a scene, and it's kind of funny. So, as I said, it's a story from 2010, but I figured it'd be good to just talk about since it happened before I did my show, which was 2013. So, I know that because my 10-year anniversary is coming up in September of this show. So, and it's in my 500th episode. So, there you go. Excuse me. Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki's company, has a new film coming out that we have no idea what it's going to be about because they have made the decision, and it's a definitely interesting idea of doing things. And I can understand in the climate of trailers and behind the scenes stuff and social media that it can ruin lots of surprises by showing trailers and showing stuff behind the scenes stuff about these particular movies. So, you're not really surprised all that much by the time you go in and see the movie. Studio Ghibli wants to change that a little bit. They're not going to release a trailer, nor are they going to show any behind the scenes artwork or whatever for their new film. You're not going to know anything about this film until it opens when it opens. So that's kind of a unique way of doing it. But at the same time, it also could cause a problem because, you want to, that's what trailers are for. They're to tease the stuff. So you want to give them some stuff to see so they want to go in and see the stuff live. And yeah, I know you want to keep it so that surprised they don't know what they're going to be getting into, but still you might want to show them a little bit so that they're like, you know what? I don't know what this is going to be about. And I don't know if I'm going to like it. And I don't know if I should spend money on it. So I'm not going to, if I don't see anything, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go see this film. So it could blow up in their faces, but it's also an interesting way of doing things as well. UK used to have double-decker bus races. There's a video showing some of them. It's off the hook. They haven't done them for a while, probably because they got dangerous, but people are saying, hey, they should bring those back. Double-decker bus races is something, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here's another comic book thing. There is a quasi sequel to WandaVision coming out called Vision Quest. It's going to be out in 2025, I believe. I don't think they've even started working on it yet. But some information is leaking through. And again, this is all rumor stuff. But it would make sense in the general MCU bubble sort of thing to do this. Tom King wrote a miniseries about the Vision, a 12-issue miniseries about the Vision years ago, where the Vision created his own family, a wife and children, and they lived in a neighborhood like in Vision, in WandaVision, and tried to live life normally, but discovered they couldn't because of who they are. And I think they're going to be doing something similar with the Vision Quest TV series, it makes sense because what else would you do with the character? And it is kind of a quasi spinoff of WandaVision, so it makes sense that Wanda had her own world where she ran things. Why wouldn't the Vision have a similar thing? But this time he's going to create it from other androids. So we could see Vin and Vivian, the children he created in the Tom King limited series in the new Disney Plus show. As I said, it's still 2025. You still got a long ways to go. They haven't even started working on it. They're not even going to start working on it until the WGA strike is probably figured out. But I guess this is, people's thinking, wishes, what it should be, because I've seen a lot of those also. A lot of these sites I see on Facebook are what they keep saying, this is breaking news. This is what could happen in the next movie. And it's just wishful thinking. And it's not always the case. It's going to be what's going to happen. But in the context of stuff, that actually makes a lot of sense to do and kind of an adaptation of Tom King's sort of Vision storyline they did with him trying to live his own life, try to figure out humanity. And it can then be that quasi spinoff of WandaVision and connective thread between the two of them. So there's that. Barbie's going to be out in about a month and a half. Barbie used so much pink paint it caused an international shortage. I think that's I think that's hilarious and outstanding and funny as hell. And totally believe it 100%. This is kind of interesting. Trailer for a action comedy called Hidden Strike with Jackie Chan and John Cena in a post-apocalyptic world, teaming up to take on oil pirates. It's like an oil war sort of thing. It has sort of a Mad Max feel to it, but it also has that sort of action comedy that we're used to seeing from the old 80s and 90s. And I think it looks outstanding, actually. And it looks like Jackie and John have really good chemistry in this. And as I said, it's sort of a combination of buddy pick and Mad Max post-apocalyptic sort of thing. So didn't show a lot of the spectacular stunts that Jackie Chan usually does. It's more along the lines of explosions, stuff like that. There is one cool shot, though, of a giant oil truck that hits like a mine or something and flips over another truck. It's pretty cool looking. And then one of the comic... Oh, for God's sakes. One of the... I'm going to turn the lights on because the one time I decided to do it without the lights. Give me a second. Like Jackie Chan falls off of this platform that's exploding and lands right on top of John Cena. It looks pretty funny. So Hidden Strike could be a quite a sleeper hit that could be coming up. So very cool to think about that. Fisherman catches a giant goldfish-like carp weighing 65 pounds. It's looks like a goldfish, but it's a carp, and 65 pounds is pretty big in. Baseball news: afternoon game today. I don't know which teams were playing, but the bases were loaded. It was the 10th inning, and the home team was up, and the opposing team's pitcher threw a wild pitch that ended up hitting the umpire in the face. And because it's considered a wild pitch, the person on third base ran for home to score and won the game on a walk-off, hit the umpire in the face, passed ball sort of thing. I saw the video. It's brutal. I feel bad for the umpire, but it's kind of a funny ending to the game. So the Asylum has always been known to, when there's like a hot movie or whatever they've already made or that they've heard about and they've had time to make a movie, They always do sort of a rip-off B-movie version of it. And I don't know if this is really a rip-off thing because it's got the same name for it, but there was a Little Mermaid live-action movie came out last week. The Asylum released a Little Mermaid animated film with, their typical sort of cast of has-been actors and never, reality star type of things as the voices. And it has a similar storyline, and it's also called The Little Mermaid, but it's different. I just find it interesting that the Asylum, which is known for these types of B movies, is creating animated films now that are these B movie parodies of stuff. So interesting. People who watch my show regularly know where my politics lean, and I think that, the Republican conservative maggots are destroying our country, and no one's doing anything about it, which is pissing me off more than anything, which is probably causing me all the stomach discomfort I've been having a lot lately. And to prove how awful these people are, a MAGA candidate for a local state government job or something like that lost to a Democrat and decided the MAGA Republican decided to pull a Putin and hired hitmen to kill his opponent so that he would win the election. First of all, that's not how it works. Second, that's murder. And if your political opponent ends up dead, you're going to be the first person who's going to be suspected. And the hitmen aren't going to care. They're going to reveal if they're going to finger you probably for that. And you're going to go to jail for a long, long time. And you killed a dude just because you lost. And that's the only way Republicans can win votes is because and that's how they're doing stuff. Is they are, they created all these maps where it treats the Democrats, badly and gives Republicans advantages. Voting stuff like that. They can't win without cheating. And again, you're emulating a sociopathic dictator who's attacking a country for no reason, and he kills his opponents so he can keep in power, which is not how Russians' democracy should have been. So I just had to mention that. This is the type of people you're dealing with. They're psychopaths. Anniversaries. X-Men First Class came out 12 years ago this week. That's like sort of a reboot of the X-Men movie series after the terrible third one. And it worked. It created 4 more after that, or 3 more movies after this one. So a total of 4 in this reboot. War Games is 40 years old this week. Actually, June 3rd, 1983 was when it came out. So it was literally 40 years old today. Interesting story about this was I would not even know about this if it wasn't for some weird thing on Twitter. So when I was taking my daughter, after I took my daughter her phone, I was driving back home. I had my phone on, but I wasn't looking at it, but I could hear the what do you call it when I get people commenting on tweets of mine. I forget the name of it, but I kept hearing the ding that happens when I have that set, and I thought that was kind of weird. And as I had a stop sign, I could see, it was people I didn't recognize. I didn't know what they were talking about. So I get home and I look at it. So first thing I go to, I open my Twitter, see what they're talking about, and there is a tweet of mine from June 3rd. 2013, where I'm talking about the 30th anniversary of War Games. And one dude is like, your math is wrong. It's 40 years. What's wrong with you? And then the other dude was like, check a look at the date of the tweet. And it had on there June 3rd, 2013. So I have no idea how a tweet of mine, because I didn't do it. I didn't find it. I didn't retweet it. I didn't do anything like that. I don't know how a tweet of mine from 2013 popped up on my feed, and then all of a sudden I got more comments on it than I've gotten on like anything really. I think I've gotten like, let me double check and see how many comments I got here. It's the most bizarre thing in the world that this tweet that I hadn't seen in 10 years gets absolutely bombastic. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 people there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, like 20 people commented on it. And I was like, what the hell? And they're not people that I know. I don't know who these people were. So it was just weird that I saw that. So I said, okay, I got to mention it. That I know it's 10 years later now. So it's 40 years ago. Literally on this day, War Games came out. A great film. Was on my top 500 list. I don't remember exactly what number it was, but it's a great film. Another one on my top 500 list that also has a big celebration anniversary this week is Big, the Tom Hanks grown-up body movie, directed by Penny Marshall, came out 35 years ago this week. So we had those two good films came out this week on that. Real quick before we get to the deaths, this is the first of a bunch of, as I said, when it came out back in February, Cocaine Bear, and it did successful, it would spin off a whole bunch of different ones. Well, get yourself ready for Crack Coon, about a crack-addicted raccoon. Oh, there's some other ones also. Where are the other ones? Cocaine Shark, which I think I've talked about already, as another one. And then where is the last one? Cocaine Crabs from Outer Space is another one. So those are all 3 actual B movies due to the popularity of Cocaine Bear that are coming out. And I knew it was going to happen. I called it when I did my Cocaine Bear storyline way back in February that there were going to be lots of spin-offs of it. And here we are. Some deaths, a lot of deaths this week. A lot of character actors, a lot of artists, a lot of musicians, but no one hugely famous. Kaija Saariaho, a pioneer composer, one of the 21st century's greatest, died at the age of 70 this week. Character actor John Beasley was Coach Warner and Rudy, was in Evermore, Mighty Ducks, The Purge, Anarchy, General's Daughter, Walking Tall, died at the age of 79. He's probably done a bunch of other stuff as well, but he was a character actor, John Beasley. Cynthia Weil, You've Lost That Love and Feeling, songwriter, died at the age of 82. And Baket Bubakana, a Kazakh artist on the rise, died at the age of 38. She's a Kazakhstan artist who passed away at the young age of 38. Since I'm on this run right now, I'll just do a couple more here. Sergio Calderon. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean and Men in Black. He was a actor in that and character actor in those. Died at the age of 77. Ingrid Habler, pianist for her pianist known mostly for her mastery of Mozart, died this week as well. Ian Hacking, an eminent philosopher and scientist, died at the age of 87. Milt Larson, co-founder of the Magic Castle, died at the age of 92 this week. I guess the Magic Castle is one of those sort of places for magicians to sort of hang out and chill and learn from each other, stuff like that. Francis Ford Coppola has finished production on his dream project, his magnum opus, Megalopolis. So now is the time for editing and all the other fun stuff. So we'll probably start seeing some stuff about Megalopolis. I doubt we'll see it this year. So we'll start seeing some stuff about that probably in the near future here. Robert Eggers has also finished production on his remake of Nosferatu. So a couple of production ends now. They can keep going during the WGA strike because they were already in production at the time. So it's okay for them to keep going and not in turn screw up the WGA's strike. Lashana Lynch, who was in Captain Marvel and in James Bond, the last James Bond movie, is joining Eddie Redmayne in the TV show from Peacock, based remake TV show based on Day of the Jackal. So that'd be interesting to see that. Devon Sawa, who started his young career as a horror sort of icon. He was in a great ghost story by the name of Casper. He was in Casper, the great Casper movie, I should say, and then went on to do horror comedies like Idle Hands, and then also did straight up horror like Final Destination. He was in that as well. And he's now a member of the Chucky TV show on Sci-Fi. He's done some other stuff along the way, but he's mostly known for his horror stuff. Well, Robert Englund has announced that he is no longer going to ever do Freddy Krueger again. He's getting too old and it's not really worth his time anymore. And he thinks somebody else should take over. His Freddy Krueger's choice is Kevin Bacon, but Kevin Bacon's getting up there soon too as well. But Devon Sawa, who is in his probably 30s and 40s right now, is saying he's willing to be the new Freddy Krueger if need be. And honestly, I think that would be really cool. I think it's a good choice if they decide to do something like that, and would be really interesting to see if they did it. I don't think they will, but he would be a good choice, I think. John Carpenter has teased that he is thinking about a sequel to his bomb turned cult film, The Thing. Yes, The Thing. Everybody talks about now is such a great movie and one of their favorites. John Carpenter's best movie, whatever. When it came out in 1982, it was a total and utter bomb. It did nothing at the box office, and it almost destroyed Carpenter's career. But it soon picked up, cult status and is now considered probably one of his best films. And now he's teasing a potential sequel. So we'll see if that actually can be done. It can be done. Just know how you're going to do it. Super Mario Brothers animated film has surpassed Frozen and is now the second biggest animated movie of all time, economic-wise, obviously. So that's pretty cool. Put this in the rumor mill, but if they got these two actors to be in this, it could be a truly interesting reboot. An Anaconda reboot. Anaconda was I guess around the turn of the century, a horror film that starred Jennifer Lopez and Jon Voight and Ice Cube, I want to say. And it was CGI giant anaconda in the Amazon, and it was your typical sort of giant monster horror type film. It was lousy. It was a piece of junk. I watched it in the movie theater because I thought it was going to be cool looking, but I saw it in the movie theater. And they're talking about doing a reboot now. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be doing a reboot of Arachnophobia, but they are. And that's coming out later this year. And I haven't heard a damn thing about that. But there is an Anaconda reboot in the works right now. And the rumored cast that they might be going after are two top tier actors right now. If the two of them got into this movie, it would change the dynamic of this reboot very much so. Paul Rudd and Pedro Pascal in an Anaconda reboot. Just think about that. Throw Ethan Hawke in there as well, because he and Pedro Pascal did that little movie short film together and they had pretty good chemistry together. Throw him in there as well, and you get that trio, and you come up with some good actors to fill out the roles on par with those guys. Hell, bring back Jennifer Lopez. She still looks good for her age, right? Doing action stuff. Why not? Paul Rudd and Pedro Pascal in an Anaconda reboot. That's crazy. Apple TV is continuing to do great stuff. They've got a thriller called Wolves that will reteam George Clooney and Brad Pitt. The first time they've worked together in 15 years since the Ocean's movies, I think. So that's exciting news about that. Amazon has set their cast for the Cruel Intentions TV show, and no, my girl Sarah Michelle Gellar is not in it. Instead, we have a bunch of actors I've never really heard of before, but hey, that's what you expect anyway. Sarah Catherine Hook will be playing the role that Sarah Michelle Gellar did in it. Zach Burgess will be playing the role of Ryan Philippe. And then the rest of the characters seem sort of they're not really doing a reboot of Cruel Intentions. They're just doing the characters and changing up the story a little bit, I think. Koba Clark, Brooke Lena Johnson, Sarah Silva, John Harlan Kim, Myra Malling, and Sean Patrick Thomas, who was in the original Cruel Intentions movie, but will not be playing the same role. In this case, he's playing a different role here, but he is the only returning cast member to the Cruel Intentions stuff, and he's not even playing the role he played in the original film. So, but yeah. The first teaser trailer for The Bear season 2 popped up. Never saw The Bear, but everybody seems to like it a lot. But there you go. If you're interested in The Bear season 2, see what it's going to be about. The teaser trailer is up and ready for your viewing. Death Note the musical has got their cast set for their English debut. I don't know any of the actors, so I didn't write down their names. But there is a Death Note sequel, musical, which I think is absolutely hilarious because it is a really deep, dark manga. And one of my daughter's favorites, actually. So we'll see. A female-led remake of The Office is in the works with Felicity Ward, but it is only going to be available to Australian TV shows. So it is an Australian version of The Office that is a female-run one as well. Two men get jobs at Amazon so they can steal copies of the new Legend of Zelda video game. Yeah, good luck at that. Amazon is very good at clamping down on people trying to steal their stuff because they have so much stuff. From what I've heard from people who work there, they go through a sweep going in, they go through a sweep going out. I mean, as intrusive as the security checks at airports are the same amounts that are with Amazon right now. So good luck getting those out. I think they got caught anyway. So, but they got jobs there just so they could steal the Legend of Zelda video game. See something, you go for it. Didn't work for you. Pearson Fode is now the new frontrunner for the new Superman movie by James Gunn. He was in the Supergirl TV show for a couple of episodes, I think. I don't know a lot of the actors who they're talking to for all these roles. So when it gets announced, it gets announced. So we'll see. And of course, you know, the Snyder Bros are going to be unhappy regardless because they're a bunch of whiny little bitches. So, oh well. I think that's all entertainment stuff. Food stuff. Cotton candy Oreos will be coming back to stores after about a decade. It's been a while. I think I kind of remember them a little bit, but they will be coming back to grocery stores here very, very soon. Jelly Belly, which is a jelly bean company that makes the really, really weird, bizarre flavored ones, as well as regular ones as well, have created their own version of the Freezy Pop with some of their best flavors of jelly beans. Ocean Spray Hershey's Chocolate Cranberry Bits. So it's cranberry bits from Ocean Spray covered in Hershey's chocolate are now out in stores as well. Ultimate Cheddar Doritos are coming back also. I kind of remember them a little bit. I think they are pretty good from what I recall. Science LSU is premiering their air-conditioned helmets for their for their college football players. They're playing LSU, they're playing Louisiana, so it's going to be hot, all year round for the most part. So they give their student athletes air-conditioned helmets to keep them cool during the time. It's a pretty good idea, and if it takes off, it should be a pattern for all colleges and National Football League teams to use that as well. Researchers in Australia discovered a new species of gecko with these really cool psychedelic eyes. So that's pretty cool whenever a new species is discovered. But this is a really cool looking gecko. A rare white bison was born in a Wyoming state park. So we've got a white bison making appearances here now. A European probe at the red planet Mars is the first of its kind to have a live stream of what they discover. I guess they know they're probably not going to discover aliens and UFOs, so they're going to control the live stream, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's out there. Saturn. Speaking of Mars, I'm sorry. Feather-shaped cloud was photographed in the Mars sky as well. It's a pretty nice looking cloud, and it does look absolutely like a feather. So interesting to see that. Saturn's moon Enceladus is blasting plumes of water 6,000 miles high. And that's giving scientists hope that there might be, obviously, there's water coming from somewhere. So obviously, they're hoping that they can get down and see this water and see if there's any living creatures in it. I think they actually are sending a probe out there to check Enceladus really soon. I keep screaming, you need to land something on Titan so we can see these oceans of liquid that we've never seen any liquid anywhere else in the world except here. And we know for a fact these are on Titan. And I just want to see what these liquid gas oceans look like. I just want to see it. I'm really, I've seen the photographs from, radar and stuff like that. So you can actually see it, but you can't see it, But Enceladus shooting water up into the sky is pretty cool too. 6,000 miles high is also pretty damn good, interesting as well. Idahoan Hidden Valley Ranch mashed potatoes are the new dehydrated mashed potato snack. So that's good. Ranch on mashed potatoes is always really good. Cheetos Flaming Hot Sweet Carolina Reaper chips are coming out again. Carolina Reaper, man, that's going to kill you. And it's sweet flavored too. What the hell? Let's see any other food stuff. Oh, here's an all-white albino panda has been spotted visiting other pandas in a China Nature Reserve. So that's pretty interesting. 7-Eleven has created their own donut in the Nerds Donut. It's a chocolate-covered donut with nerds on it. That's definitely a unique idea. Any other food thing? Kit Kat caramel is coming. That could actually be very tasty if done properly. A polar cyclone has been discovered on Uranus, whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of neat to see that there's a South Pole giant storm raging on one of the poles of Uranus. Manhattan Henge occurred this week. Happens 4 times a year, where the sun sets matches up exactly with the view down like 42nd Street or something like that. So it's like exact center of 42nd Street, right in the middle of it. The sun sets. It happens only once every, 4 times every year. So this was the first one of the year. Many photographs of it, of course. And Fruit Roll-Ups goes cosmic with new Alien Encounters mystery flavor. So that's an interesting one. If you like the old Justified TV show, the return is coming. First trailer for Justified popped up this week as well. Did I skip that? Yeah, I did. Bruce Campbell tells fans that they bought phony autographs. They're showing off their Bruce Campbell autographs, and he takes a look at them and says, I never signed this. Someone sold them fake Bruce Campbell autographs. So that's kind of crazy. Trailer for a show called I'm a Virgo, which is a coming of age story about a 13-foot tall giant teenager. Obviously, there is no 13-foot giant teenager in real life. It's probably just a take on the racism, whatever, not racism, just the hatred of people that are different than you. A movie came out a long time ago, B movie with Clint Howard called Ice Cream Man. Well, Clint Howard has said that their Ice Cream Man 2 is in the works. It is a horror comedy sort of thing. Came out back in the 90s, and now here we are 30 years later. He wants to do a sequel. Rebecca Ferguson to star in Best Served Cold, a revenge thriller from the Deadpool director Tim Miller. Okay, good idea. They are doing a live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon, and the 2 main characters have been cast. Mason Thames and Nico Parker are cast as the leads in the How to Train Your Dragon live-action film. Scott Hayes, Katie Lynn Scheel are starring in a horror film called The Seeding, which is going to make its appearance at Tribeca, which is the New York Film Festival later this summer. It was announced this week that Skeleton Crew, the Star Wars TV show that's going to hit at the very end of this year with Jude Law, is going to be 8 episodes long. So it's about on par for what Disney Plus shows do about this time. Corbin Burnson is coming back to film. He returns to film in a science fiction horror film called Marshmallow. Not much known about that, but there we go. John Krasinski's Jack Ryan TV show on Amazon is entering its final season, and the first full trailer for it popped up this week. A Barry Bonds documentary is coming to HBO Max, or rather, I should just call it Max now, very soon. Spider-Woman is getting her own live-action film, as is Miles Morales. He's also getting his own live-action film here from Sony in a little bit, so they'll be coming up eventually down the line. So far this year, there have been a number of huge video games that have already come out, and there's still a bunch of huge video games that are on the horizon, making this one of the best years for video game fans ever. We'll add one more to that. Silent Hill Ascension is still set for a 2023 debut, probably again towards closer to Christmas, maybe Halloween, since it's a horror sort of thing, but Silent Hill is a popular gaming series, and the newest one will be coming out here soon. I mean, Zelda totally destroyed records, but there's another one coming up. I forget what it's called that could be on par with it, but I don't think it. I still think people are projecting Zelda to be the most popular one. You had the Harry Potter video game come out this year, and there's a whole bunch of other ones as well. So, you got Silent Hill Ascension doing that as well. Anniversaries, Finding Nemo came out 20 years ago this week. Story about that 20 years ago was also my wedding. I got married on my wedding anniversary. Coming up on our honeymoon, we got in our hotel room, we got the special, like pay-per-view sort of stuff of films that just came out in the summer. They're popping up on these pay-per-views. Our honeymoon was in October. This movie came out in June. So it's the first appearance for it goes on to like DVD and stuff like that. So we actually didn't see it during the summer, but we did see it in our hotel room, which was cool. And the Magic movie, Now You See Me, is 10 years old this week, has a great cast in it. So that came out 10 years ago this week. Godzilla King of the Monsters, the sequel to the hit Godzilla film from 2014. And I think Godzilla King of the Monsters is a really good one. It's better than the first Godzilla movie, but it's a really good one too. Came out 4 years ago this week. Godzilla Kong came out 3 years ago. Not too long. Anniversary of that came out, I think, back in May also. So Godzilla King of the Monsters 4 years ago this week. Some more deaths. Robin Wagner, Tony-winning Broadway set designer. He won Tonys for Angels in America. And I can't read the other ones. Oh, the producers, and there was one other one in there, but he's died at the age of 89. But he was Tony Award-winning set designer. Bill McGovern, former UCLA and NFL defensive coach, died at the age of 60 this week. Mike Young. I know Mike Young. He is a former Baltimore Oriole outfielder. He died at the age of 63. He was, I grew up watching Mike Young, and I liked him a lot, and I was sad to see him pass away this week. And Michael Cote, a Quebec star of Quebec series Cruising Bar and Crazy, died at the age of 72 this week. I've got a short one this week. And then we got a whole lineup of deaths here. Gerald Kastner, who is AC Slater's dad in Saved by the Bell, died at the age of 90. Michael Noel, Captain Hank Stacy from the TV show Emergency, died this week. George Maharis, I can't tell. Did something. But he died this week. Marlene Claire, Sanford and Son, actress, died at the age of 85. Ed Ames, David Bowie, and Ames Brooks Singer died at the age of 95. George Maharis, there it is again twice. Sword and Sorcery villain, the Rick Dalton inspiration, died at the age of 94. So I actually had him up there twice. The anniversaries we have this week, The Day After Tomorrow came out 19 years ago this week. Cliffhanger came out 30 years ago this week. There's going to be a sequel made from that with Sylvester Stallone. Rocky 3 also came out 41 years ago this week. So 2 Sylvester Stallone movies came out this week. And the Pixar movie Up came out this week 14 years ago. Scientists discover 417 ancient cities in Guatemala connected by superhighways. So they didn't know that the Guatemalans had such high-tech abilities to create these sort of things, but apparently they did. After meeting, no, shall I keep hold on that. Those are top my last 3. Kenny Pickett, the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, got his car stolen, and his playbook was in it as well. So had to be a Ravens fan stealing that car. So now we have the he died also. The Pittsburgh Steelers playbook. Another death real quick. Joseph Mercer Marley, Bob Marley's grandson, died at the age of 29 this week. A DNA strand links present-day Native American tribe to ancient Indians who lived in the San Francisco Bay Area before it was the San Francisco Bay Area. Fossils suggest early primates lived in a once swampy Arctic. Well, we knew that the Arctic and the Antarctic were both swampy and hot and jungly sort of things. And then I believe pole shift shifted it so that it became much colder. And when pole shift happens again, they'll turn back to being swampy and stuff like that, unless the environmental disaster is happening around, which it could do. Baseball story. Julio Rodriguez plays for the Seattle Mariners, is now being sponsored by Alaskan Airlines. Every home run he hits, 44 people in, which is the number on Julio Rodriguez's chest, 40 people in that section that the home run ball lands in, this is only at home games, will win a free round trip ticket of their choosing on Alaskan Airlines. So Alaska Airlines doesn't go that far, and it's based in that sort of Pacific Northwest. So it's not that big of a deal for them. So I think that's kind of cool they're doing that. After meeting the Pope, Martin Scorsese has announced that he is making another film about Jesus. His first one, Last Temptation of Christ, is actually not a bad film. It's actually pretty good, but it's based on a novel. This one is going to be an original story written by Martin Scorsese, I believe. Could be about the history of Jesus, could be something else about Jesus. We don't know, but he is making a movie about Jesus, and that very well could be the next film that he makes is going to be about Jesus Christ. The Guinness Book of Records holds the record for being the book most stolen from public libraries. I thought that was kind of funny. And the final story for this very short, just after midnight too, episode, Jane Fonda, who was handing out the Palme d'Or at Cannes, ended up having to throw the award at the winner because she was being taken off stage, I think, without grabbing it because she was so excited, couldn't believe she won. She was talking to all her friends, all this stuff, and Jane was trying to get her attention, but she wasn't hearing Jane, so she just chucked it at her. It's not like it's a heavy, like an Oscar or anything like that, but it's just kind of funny that she did that just to get her to make sure that she doesn't, and it wasn't done in malice. It was done to make sure that she got the award that she rightfully won. So just kind of a funny little story. And that's where we're ending this week's episode. So just shy of an hour and just after midnight. Unexpected that it was this quick. Not to be unexpected because Memorial Day did happen. I didn't really do much. Not a lot happened on Memorial Day. So this week upcoming, my son is going on a field trip to Washington. My kid's supposedly last day is technically the 13th, but they have basically it's kind of the 9th. They're going to do an asynchronous sort of half day. My son has his first look at high school. They have a high school open house for incoming freshmen on Tuesday. And my dad's birthday is on Monday. And new Fortnite season comes out on Friday. So that's even cool. That's very cool also. Community Day, XU Community Day is coming out on Saturday the 10th, and I will be going to the Orioles games with the Scouts on the 11th. And it takes us 1 week closer to my birthday. So should be a much bigger banner week, as I said. Very nice temperatures. Should be a good time, and hopefully we'll get some more interesting stories this week. But yeah, haven't done a short one like this for a while, so it feels kind of nice. And also to be done just after midnight means I don't have to stay up till 2 o'clock like I usually do. I can stay up now for about another hour and then go to bed at 1 o'clock. My wife just went upstairs. So I'm going to end the stream now. Thanks, guys. Good night.